A lesson in drink mixology using the web today on Call for Help.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you, and welcome, my friend. Welcome to Call for Help. I'm Leo Laporte. This is episode 425. On this show, we explain how technology works. We help you understand it. We help you choose it, help you use it, help you abuse it, should that be your desire. Ha! And then when you're all done with it, you've got all the good stuff out, we can show you how to lose it as well. My friend Amber MacArthur is here.
Hello, Leo.
This is the part where the Google video preview cuts off, so now we can actually talk.
Oh, so right now. Hello, Leo.
I was noticing, you know, we sell this now. The show is sold on Google Video in the United States, and there's a little preview. You click a button, there's a preview, and it stops right about there.
It just stops right now.
Right now.
Right now.
So let's say what great stuff is coming up. Oh,
oh.
gosh, we're sorry. You'll have to pay 99 cents to see the rest. No, you don't. You're going to watch the whole show right now.
They're going to think we're crazy.
They do think we're nuts already, so we're just fitting right into what their preconceived notions are. Here, I'll talk about nuts. You don't drink. And you're going to show us a site about drinking online.
Well, because other people have encouraged me to show sites off that allow you to get some really good recipes.
I've been known to tipple a beaker or two.
Yes, well, we're going to look at some really great sites. One of them is called Extra Tasty, and we're going to walk through the site and give people some recipes, but just because I don't drink, I am also going to show a smoothie site.
Good.
Yes. For those people who don't drink.
You'll vouch for me. One drink, that's it. That's my limit.
Oh, yeah.
By
definitely.
then, I'm dancing on the tables. I'm taking off my clothes. It's too much.
Yeah, that Christmas party 2 years ago.
Oh, don't remind me of that. She still has videos somewhere.
I have video. I'm the only one with video.
If you wonder how Amber stays on the show, it's that video.
It's true. Leo, wait a second.
I'm
That's
just
not
kidding.
nice.
Alex Lindsay is here. He does not have pictures of me. Nevertheless, we bring him back again and again because he's so great with Photoshop. He's going to talk about designing 3D characters from the ground up.
Very cool.
Paul Kelly's also here. We're going to talk about layers, and particularly layer comps in Photoshop CS2. So, boy, this is going to be a good kind of graphics. It's going to be kind of booze and graphics together.
Yeah, don't do them together, though.
No. Drink responsibly.
Yes, and design responsibly.
And design responsibly. That's exactly right. No, I was just kidding about that.
I know.
Yeah.
I have the video, so you have to be nice to me.
I would be nice to you no matter what. You know that.
Thanks, Leo.
Let's get our first call of the day on the show, though.
All right, we have Kenton on the line from Moncton, New Brunswick.
She's the real star of the show. Everybody knows that. Hey, Kenton, how are you?
Good.
Welcome to Call for Help.
Thank you.
What can I do for you today?
I have a question about
Yes.
my monitor on my computer. I have my contrast and my light and brighten like full.
All the way up.
Yeah, and it's still too dark.
Wait, how dark? Like you can barely see it dark?
I can see it, but
Can't use it.
like pictures and like videos is really, really dark.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, is this a CRT, a tube monitor?
Yeah, just a regular monitor.
Yeah. Yeah, is it pretty old?
Not really.
How old is it?
Probably, I don't know. It's probably made in like 2000.
6 years old?
Yeah.
What happens sometimes, I'm not sure, but I think this is what's happening to yours, is, you know, the way a CRT monitor works, this is not one, so just pretend it is there is a coating of phosphors on the inside of the glass.
All right.
And there's an electron gun that shoots at those phosphors, excites them, and they light up.
Okay.
And that's how you get a screen. Now, as time goes by,
It wears out.
those phosphors can lose their brightness and the screen will get darker and darker. But you're right, 6 years is not much. I mean, how long do people have TVs? 20, 30 years.
Yeah,
They don't get so dark you can't see them. So it sounds like a defective monitor. Monitors are so cheap today. You might be able to bring it in and get it fixed. Don't try to do anything yourself. You can't open that, or you can electrocute yourself, even if it's unplugged, because they've got a big old capacitor in there that holds the juice. You could bring it in and say, can you fix this? But the truth is, how big a monitor is it?
It's like your standard size.
Like 15, 17 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth, you could buy a brand new one
Yeah.
for about $100.
Yeah.
So if you brought it in and they said, okay, we'll fix it, $250, That doesn't make any sense at all unless you're particularly attached to this monitor.
Yeah.
So my recommendation probably is get a new one. There's nothing you can do in software. If you've got the physical button turned all the way up, that means you've got every ounce of brightness you can out of that screen. I think, I suppose it could be something wrong with the operating system. So, as a diagnostic, you might try booting into another operating system, say using one of those Linux Live CDs and seeing if it looks dark too. But if everything you do looks dark on that computer screen, it's probably the screen. Yeah.
What about the video card? Does that have anything to do?
Well, I mean, it could, yeah. In fact, I'll show you one thing you can play with. In your open your display properties control panel, go to the settings tab, and then press the advanced button. Now it's going to look different on every card, but most of the time you'll have a tab something like color management.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that if you have a color profile that's wrong, then you might, in fact, be looking at an awful screen. So you might try a different color profile. Now mine says default monitor DPMS, but I can go in here and you'll see that Windows comes with a bunch of color spaces. Now, I'm not saying that you should stick with any of these, but this certainly would be something to try, is say, all right, well, let's try this color space. How does that look? And see if the monitor looks better. If it does, then yeah, you've just got the, and I've actually seen this happen. People have some weird, wacky color space in there, and it makes everything look wrong. So that's another thing you could try. You might make sure that you have, and this is frequently a problem, the right monitor definition in there in your display control panel. Mine says default monitor. That's probably not the best one to use. See if you can find one for your monitor. It could be. It's perfectly possible. I mean, if I go in the control center, I can totally turn down brightness and color in the card. So yeah, I mean, certainly play with those. Make sure that you've got those settings kind of at the default. But usually, I mean, I have to say, it's not unusual for this to happen. If it's a CRT monitor and it's fairly old, it's just the monitor's worn out.
Yeah.
But try those things before you. I'll tell you another way to diagnose that is plug a different monitor in. If that monitor is dark too, then it's clearly the computer or the operating system or the card.
Okay, yeah.
The way we troubleshoot is we eliminate possibilities until we narrow it down to one. So try a different operating system, or try a different monitor. See if you can borrow a friend's monitor, plug it in there, and see, does that look dark? Oh, well, then it is the operating system.
All right.
All right, Kenton.
Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm so glad you called. Keep watching the show. Tell all your friends.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take
Bye.
care. Here's an interesting question. What did Darwin ever do for geeks? Coming up after the break, we're going to show you how to pump some life into your characters, a little 3D style using Darwinian software. We're talking evolution here. Alex Lindsay joins us in just a bit. Stick around to learn more. Welcome back to Call for Help. When it comes to the evolution of technology, names like Gates, and Jobs, Lazazara, they're quick to roll off the tongue, right? Well, today we're going to show you a new application called Evolver, which allows you to design your own unique 3D characters from the ground up. Evolution. Alex Lindsay is here. This is kind of an interesting program.
It does an amazingly complex thing in an amazingly simple way. So one of the things about building characters is that when you're designing new ones, it is very, very complex to get all the little a very realistic looking character and get lots of different ones. So a lot of times you're working on a game or you're working on digital doubles. You just need a crowd, a bunch of people walking around, that type of thing.
That's painstaking.
And having a person sit there and model each one of those characters at a high resolution is really, really, really painful. So this company called Darwin Dimensions has literally just released this application. And what it does is they've built all those for you. So they have all these characters that they've built.
And then you can easily modify them.
Yeah, what happened is they built them all with very similar the surfaces that you have numbering. So these little, what we call polygons, are going across here, and they're numbered. If you start changing the numbering, so if I just model something from scratch and model another one from scratch, blending between them becomes really hard because the computer doesn't know which vertex, which part of this surface.
Right.
It literally has numbered all the little dots on there,
Right.
and if you try mixing one and one is over here for another model,
It's going to give you a
it just twists you up.
inside-out face. Yeah.
So what they've done is they very carefully built all these, but everything matches up. So what you can do now is they've gone through and built all these different characters. And if you look at the top of here, you'll see these. You've got.
And they look very realistic. They're really kind of neat.
They're very. And some of them look a little alien.
Okay.
Some are more gorilla-like.
Right.
But they're very. Some of them are very, very humanoid. And so.
Humanoid.
Humanoid. They're all humanoids. But so what you can do here is I can grab one of these. So I have one here that I threw in here, and you can see that I have this little viewer.
Oh, and you get a full head. It's not just the face. It's everything.
Yeah, this is a head, and you actually get a whole body, but we're
Looks
starting
really
with the
real.
head.
I mean, I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
So if I select another one, let's select Lisa here, and we'll bring her down here. So now, what we have here,
oh, you've mixed the two.
and if I have a little fader.
Oh, I see. Oh, look at that.
So what I can do is I can fade back and forth. I can say, well, I really want more over here, for instance.
Wow.
And so this is, so now, but I can also get into it. This is why it's obviously called Darwin Dimensions and Evolver, is it's really this evolution of characters. And so, for instance, I could go over here and let's grab.
Ooh, let's get that old man.
Let's get the old man. So we'll bring the old man in here, and we'll bring our little alien-eared dude.
Oh, Pepe and Biggie,
Biggie
together.
Let's see here if I can get Piggy to join up here. There we go. Whoops. So now, what you see is this is like the grandchild.
Yeah, if they got married, that's what the
that's
kid
what
would
this
look
is their
like.
grandchildren. These would be their kids, and this is
This
their
is
grandchild.
really neat.
And what I can do now is I can blend this one back and forth, for
Right,
instance.
so he looks a little more like dad or a little more like mom.
And then this is the overall blender between the one on the right and the one on the left.
Oh, so you're actually mixing. It's a third generation now.
Right. So now you're mixing through all of that.
Wow.
So now I have this. Now I can also go in and just select, for instance, a nose. And now I'm just blending.
More of mom's nose, more of dad's nose, more of grandpa's nose.
So I can. And what's happening here is now I have thousands, millions
easily
of ways of doing this without having to go through all that modeling.
Right.
Now, once I go to the next step, once I have this set up, I'll jump to the next step. And this of course,
looks like
is
an elf that was in the Lord of the Rings I saw last night.
And so now you have the whole body.
Right.
And the body is, now there's lots of different body types that can be, grabbed onto.
It's kind of fun.
And so, we can, get a little more muscular here.
Wow.
And once again, we can blend. And once again, thousands and thousands and thousands of options, millions of options. And you really can dial in almost anything that you want. And what you're going to end up with is a very realistic looking creature.
Now, what do you do now?
Okay, so what you can do now is the way they have it set up is you can download this. I think there's a 7-day trial, and then if you want,
you can play with this for free.
You can play with it for free
For a week.
It's PC only.
Okay.
You'll notice that I'm.
You're using a
boot
Mac,
camp.
but he's running boot camp, so you
Yeah.
got a PC.
So it's PC only. You can download it for free for 7 days and play with it. If you like it, you can pay $39, and you still have the app to play with. Now, if you want to export these models to start playing with them, then you have to you load what's called I think it's a DDE. This is the project file.
Right.
And what it'll do is you can pay them just for the geometry. I think it's $40 or $80 or something like that.
Per character?
Per character. Now that doesn't have any of the rigging, but it gives you the basic character that you can use. So if you're just playing with it, if you're modding something or you want to play with your own
do you use this in Pixel Core to give people a chance to kind of create characters?
We've been testing it internally. We haven't done anything in the Pixel Core yet, but we're about to use it actually we're looking at using it for a feature film where we needed a bunch of digital doubles, where we needed these digital doubles and we didn't want to model them all, and so we're going to get the base characters here, and then we're going to build some clothing for them. But that's all we have to worry about is the clothing, not the characters themselves. And so,
and you'd get this in some format that you could then use in an animator of some kind.
If you are a visual effects company and you're playing with this, you can pay for the full version. And the full version costs it's the same application.
Right.
But if you want to be able to have pro features
And
that
unlimited use of the characters and all that.
exactly, then you also you can release one that has all the bones, so all the structures and everything else,
Right.
like all the facial animation stuff,
Right.
everything
Oh,
you would
great.
need will be exported. Now that's going to cost you like $2,000,
Yeah,
but if
but
you look at the amount of
still.
time it would take to develop it, it really is it's really worth it.
Pro
So,
apps for motion pictures are expensive. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
bad at all, it seems like.
Yeah.
What a neat idea.
It's
really, really fun
It's
to
really,
play with.
really unique.
Yeah.
And as I said, I would highly suggest going out, downloading
Just to
it,
play
with
with
it.
it.
It's just
Yeah.
a really fun
It's a good
application.
little toy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can play with it for 7 days. Actually, you can play with it unlimited as long as you don't want to save anything
no,
out.
you get 7 days to play with it.
Okay.
And then you have to pay $39.
$39. Then
Then
you can keep playing with it, but to export it out, you have to pay per model.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
got it. It's from Darwinian Dimensions. It's called Evolver. Just one of a large and evolving number of tools that are being used by animators and motion picture studios and stuff to make really realistic 3D stuff.
And I think that one of the exciting things is we're starting to see these apps. You know, it used to be what can we do? Now we're getting to the point with stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean where you can do anything.
Right.
Now the next step is how do we make it easy
Easier.
and less expensive? And so that's what's coming now.
Days not far off, maybe a few years before somebody could do a Pirates of the Caribbean or a King Kong completely in their computer with off-the-shelf software that doesn't cost a whole lot.
It's not too far off.
That's
yeah.
amazing. It's really exciting. Alex Lindsay has extensive experience in multimedia, forensic animation, television, and film. He runs the Great Pixel Corps, a good place to go if you want to learn how to use this stuff and then work in the business. Pixelcorps.com. It's an entourage, a guild, if you will, of digital media artists. You can read all about this segment at callforhelptv.com. That's where you should go to answer our next tech quiz question of the day. Which company made the first home consumer VCR? It was 1972. I was still in high school. Was it Philips, Sony, JVC, or the CFH Labs? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it later when Call for Help continues.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for our Mac tip of the day. Here's how you add the Email Cloaker widget to your Mac. All you have to do is go to apple.com, download the widget, and then to use the widget, just enter an email address that you don't want to be displayed on your website. It will disguise the email address and put text you want to display, and then it will encode it. So we click here, it will encode, and then you can paste that code on your website. And this is to avoid spam bots. And now we have another caller. We have Joseph on the line from Hamilton, Ontario.
Thank you, Amber. Hi, Joseph.
Hey, Leo, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to say hello to Amber, too, while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Hi,
go
Joseph.
ahead.
Well, actually, I have a question about the Mac.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I just recently switched back to Mac after a few years of learning that productivity in the office environment meant switching to Windows.
Right.
But with the new Intel-based Macs, I can actually start working on a Mac again. So
Kind of the best of
recently
both
bought a
worlds.
MacBook.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I really am happy with my MacBook, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, besides setting in to get the super drive replaced, I'm pretty happy with mine right now too. But here's the problem: as everyone else in the office, I spend countless hours wasting time watching viral video on the website. And stuff like
YouTube.
one of my favorite sites is eBob's World.
Yes.
And problem
Not
is they
safe
run
for
a
work
lot.
many times. I should warn people.
Yeah, productivity goes way down with that around.
Yeah.
But one of their favorite formats to use is WMV.
Right.
Now the issue is, I love Safari, I love Firefox, but the thing is, neither of those use.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to
Sure.
stop you right there because your timing couldn't be better. This was, to me, the biggest lack on the Intel Macs was you couldn't watch Windows video on it. What's
Yeah.
happened is Microsoft abandoned support for Windows video on the Macintosh. They gave it to a company called Flip for Mac, and they said Flip for Mac is going to handle it from here on out. They have a free plugin you can get from Microsoft, but it didn't work on Intel.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph, weird. Today, they shipped the Intel version.
Are you kidding me? I am actually going to go to the Mac store right now.
You don't have to buy it. It's free. Go to Flip for Mac or go to Microsoft.com. It's FLIP, the number 4, Mac.com. They've had it out in beta for a while, It works fine. Now, what I do, because I like QuickTime, is that you have two ways to do it. You can they actually give you a Windows media player, or you can just check a box. If you go in the preferences, it says, yeah, just use QuickTime for it, because then everything uses QuickTime. So, in fact, if you're using Safari, that might. The one thing it doesn't always do is inline video. You know, like the videos in the window. It usually pops up a window.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it plays, it works, it's great. It solves the whole thing. In fact, Sean's got it running right now on his Macintosh.
He's not at eBaum's World, is he?
Go to yeah. Be careful what you see at eBaum's World. But there's some things you can click there.
Right.
Just let's try it on eBaum's World. Wait a minute. Let me look before we leap here. Is there anything that's safe? There's anything that's safe for TV on this? Let's see the motorbike one. How about that one? I think that one's safe.
There you go.
So a lot of stuff I should warn people on eBaum's World is not really safe for work.
Yeah, that's why I use it on my laptop as opposed to the desktop at work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the motorcycle one is safe. Now, as you see on Internet Explorer, it plays right inside the window. That's called inline video. Are you looking on the Mac or? Okay, now you're looking at my Windows machine. Let's switch over to Sean's Mac. Click. It's on the right there. Did you find it?
Which one is it?
The motorcycle video, on the right. We have to be really careful on this site. It's the best of the web, right at the top there.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
On eBaum's World?
I've got another one. But it's inlining fine.
If it's safe, it is inlining. Okay.
It is lining.
There it is. So that's the only issue is, sometimes it requires a pop-up. But there you go. You're watching it on an Intel Mac. Hallelujah, save the day. Now, when I say they shipped it today, they shipped it today as we tape. When you see this show, it'll have been out for a few days.
See, that's pretty funny, actually.
Isn't that funny?
I've been racking my mind about it, and honestly, I didn't like reverting to Rosetta because it took so long to load up.
Yeah, actually, it won't even run in Rosetta. You couldn't. It wouldn't work on those Macs. In fact, if you try to install it, it would say, "Nope, sorry, I won't install for you."
Yeah.
I for a while was using Windows. I would just run Parallels and actually look at the video in Windows, which is really dopey. But so that was the one way out. Yeah, I think of all the things that aren't supported on Intel. On the Intel Macs, that was the only one that was really the last holdout. And I think now there's really not much reason not to move to Intel. And it sure is a lot faster. Okay, Joseph?
All right, thank you. Can I ask one more favor?
Certainly.
I was hoping for
Amber's
an
autograph
picture of the beautiful Amber MacArthur and her lovely assistant, Lee Laporte.
Oh, you don't have to have me. It's okay. We'll just give you Amber's autograph.
I'm going to get fired with it.
No, you're not going to get fired. I'm telling you, more and more it's becoming obvious why people watch the show. And it ain't this guy. We will be glad to. Hang on the line. Hang on the line, Joseph. And yeah, I'm here for I don't know why I'm here. Well, I'm here to I don't know what. I don't know. Amber's here because we love Amber and she's the greatest. So hang on the line. We're going to get your address and Sean and I will just go mope in the corner, right, with Mike, who's already moping. Meanwhile, start it up, little baby. Start it up. Stir it up. When we come back, some tasty websites for your next smoothie or drink sensation. The star of the show, Amber MacArthur, coming up in just a bit. She's not going to live this one down. You stay right here. That's the Swedish chef from the Muppets. Well, they say Canada only has 2 seasons. There's the winter, which goes on and on and on, and there's patio season. Yes! So when the weather's nice, there's nothing like a cold and icy smoothie out on the patio, maybe a mixed drink during patio weather. We love patio weather. Today, Amber's here to show us 3 places to go online to blend up your next beverage.
Yeah, so this should be kind of fun for anyone who's interested in mixing up drinks.
Mixology!
Mixology. So we have some drinks that are alcoholic, and then we're going to have some smoothies later in the segment, so for anyone who doesn't drink. So the first site we're going to look at is called Extra Tasty, and I really love the design of this site. You'll see it's got the whole Web 2.0 look. It's a really nice site. So what this is kind of like a recommendation recommendations engine for people who are interested in finding drinks from other people. So we did a wine site a while ago if you're interested in joining
Right.
a community of people who want to share different recipes. So this is the same thing but for mixed drinks. So you can see this is the home page, and they have the drink of the day, which is the dark and stormy, which is a typical drink for sailors, I think.
Yes.
And then they have
Or bad writers.
or bad writers. They use tags. You can search for recipes. You can sign up. You can also add your own profile where you have your bar and you have the ingredients listed in your bar.
See, I'm pretty conservative when it comes to adult beverages.
You don't,
I'm a straight gin and tonic guy. I don't
yeah,
really-
you don't mix it
I don't
up
wanna
too
put all
much.
these weird things in here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting though. If you go into the site, they have some interesting drinks: margarita, Jello shots,
jeez.
dirty maid punch, tequila squirt, Siberian husky. So it's kind of neat because what they're doing is they're really taking some of the main ingredients
If you
that you
have
might
this,
have,
right.
and then they're creating recipes from them.
Right.
And you can also again search by tag. So let's say if you're a gin drinker and you like gin, but you want something different and you're tired of drinking your typical gin drink, then you can go there and it'll have a recipe that includes gin.
See, this is actually a brilliant Web 2.0 play because it's obviously going to be very popular and it's very advertisable, right? I mean,
And also, think about it, it's very social because it really
It
has a
encourages
community
that.
of people who are sharing drinks, who
Yeah.
probably like to socialize, like to go out to
Yeah, it's
bars
kind
and
of inspired,
restaurants.
really.
Yeah, it really is, and the design is absolutely amazing. So here we have a bunch of drinks that are done with gin. So there's drinks that you've probably not heard of necessarily. If you scroll down, you can see the big special. So the Bulldog, people also add their own drinks here, so they kind of try to create their own drinks. So it's also kind of creative as well.
It's fun.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun.
extra tasty.
Yeah, it's really quite a great site. And then the last thing you can do on Extra Tasty, which makes it especially Web 2.0-ish, is that you can get recipes sent to you on your mobile phone, or you can download them on your iPod.
Yeah, that's great.
So this is kind of neat as well. So you can take them to go, or you can get a recipe sent to you if you're going shopping and you want the recipe on your cell phone or something like that. So it's a kind of neat thing. The next place we're going to go is called Bartender One, and this is from Matt, who's one of our producers here. And what you can do on this site is that you can pick the ingredients that you have in your cabinet, in your liquor cabinet, and then it will recommend some drinks based on those ingredients. So that's another neat site. And then the third site we're going to look at, let's say if
This is
you're
more
not...
my speed. I like
I know.
smoothies, yeah.
I'm more of a smoothie drinker as well.
Yeah.
I love smoothies, and I make
do
them all
too.
the time.
Yeah.
And what was really funny is I looked forever for a good smoothie site, and I really couldn't find
Really?
one. Yeah, there just aren't that many. There's some sites that are okay, but they haven't been updated lately, but this one's actually pretty good. So this is smoothie-recipe.com, and they have a bunch of different recipes here. They have the latest recipes: banana, pineapple, raspberry, pina colada. And so it's really simple. They have some interesting ideas for healthy smoothie recipes, like low-carb smoothie recipes. They have high-protein recipes as well, and then they list all the ingredients. And I'll just give people some different ideas if they're interested in making smoothies
I want
or
a
something like that.
low carb smoothie. 'Cause
I
that's what
know.
I worry is there's so much sugar in those.
That's the thing is a lot of people who are making smoothies are putting a ton of orange juice in them
Yeah, they're too
and a lot of
sweet.
sugars, and they're really high in carbs. If you when I lived in San Francisco, I used to go to Jamba Juice all the
Yeah,
time,
but boy.
where I would drink these giant drinks,
600
these smoothies.
calories.
There'd be 600 calories in them, 100 carbs, and you would just take it to go, and you thought you were being really healthy, and then you go have a burger and something else. By the end of the day, you're at like
Right.
2,300 or 2,000,
Might as
3,000
well eat a
calories.
bowl of sugar while
Yeah,
you're at
pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see some low carb recipes here as
Good.
well for anyone who's
Those I'm
interested
gonna
in
check
mixing
out.
up some drinks
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But Extra Tasty is really good. Bartender One is great. I think Extra Tasty is really nicely done, and I really as soon as I saw the site, I knew I was going to end up talking
Yeah.
about it a little bit. It's nicely designed.
You and I were talking that sometimes you can just look at a site and go, bingo, they got it.
You just
There's
know.
something about it. It just clicks.
Yeah, it really, and then you see some other sites that they haven't really updated their design. So really a lot of people I think on the web who want their sites to be more popular, I'm going into a web workshop here.
Yeah.
They need to really update their site and they need to kind of redesign it so it has a fresher look because
Yeah.
there is a new trend of styles on the web and something like Extra Tasty definitely reflects that.
Oh, it totally looks like Web 2.0.
It does.
Yeah,
Big
you can
buttons,
see it
juicy.
immediately,
It almost seems tasty a little
It's
bit.
extra
Extra tasty.
For more extra tasty drink recipes, stir it up. Go to callforhelptv.com. We'll get to some more tasty tech calls coming up right after this break. Let's see what they're mixing up in the control room. We'll be right back.
10, 9,
Standby
commercials, 7, 6, flat commercials,
Let's
3,
roll
roll
commercial.
commercials, 2, 1.
And fade to black.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Time for a Google Blog Search Tip of the Day. Here's how you can get a feed to a Google Blog Search. For example, I've entered Leo's blog at leoville.vox.com so that I can find out who's linking to him. And if I want to get a feed of this, all I have to do is go to the left-hand side and then click on RSS feed to subscribe.
Now, what would I do with that feed? So I would just check it? And
Well, what you would do is if you have an RSS reader where you're keeping up to date with all your news, and I know you have a lot of
do.
subscriptions, that you could keep up to date and find out who's posting on their blogs about you and linking to your blog.
Oh,
Yeah, so all the
wow.
people linking to you, for instance, right now there's 42 links to your blog on Vox.
Yes!
Good job, Leo. And now we have another caller. We have Rob on the webcam from Edmonton, Alberta.
Links is good, right?
Links are good.
Links is good. Hey, Rob, how are you?
I'm great, Leo. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
What can I do for you, my friend?
Okay, well, a few years ago, actually, I upgraded my system from Windows ME to Windows XP.
Okay.
And it wasn't and when I did that, my CPU heatsink fan started spinning out of control, and it would just go.
I hear it right
uncontrollable
now. Is that it
heat.
right now?
Pardon? Yeah, that's it. Here,
it's
I'll put the phone
noisy.
next to it here.
That is noisy. I can hear it here with that on the phone.
That's nuts, eh?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, but my computer was in the basement, so it wasn't a really big deal. But now I've moved it into my room, so it's keeping me up all night.
I don't. Well, chances are it's not the XP upgrade. Some machines, not a whole lot of desktops, but some machines have variable speed fans where they get louder when the machine is hotter. That's actually an idea to keep the machine quiet, believe it or not, because most of the time the fan can spin down and only spins up when it's doing a lot of work. So it could be, if you have a variable speed fan in there, that it's confused or your system's working harder than it was. I think it's probably just that the fan bearings are shot or the fan is messed up. Maybe it's, in fact, whenever I hear fan noise, new kinds of fan noise, I open the case right away and I'll tell you why. At one point, I build my own machines, and so the wiring maybe isn't the tidiest in the world. And at one point, a wire had actually moved slightly, and the fan was hitting it, and that's where that noise was coming from. Frankly, it's what I hear, what it sounds like yours right now. It was hitting it. Now that's very dangerous because when it's hitting it, it's rubbing off the insulation, and at some point it could actually rub off all the insulation, short circuit the thing. I could have a fire in the case. So if you hear fan noise, I think it's a really good idea. First thing to do is open up the case and say, what, you obviously have, because you know where that noise is coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did. You went, well, what's that noise? You looked and say, well, it's coming from that thing. You could just try replacing it. In fact, I suspect that's all you really need to do. It's probably always running. I don't know of any CPU fan that isn't always running. And it's probably always running at the same speed. I mean, it's possible to have variable. Have you seen variable speed CPU fans?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
They definitely happen.
Yeah.
You've got them in notebooks and a lot
In
of them-
notebooks for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of the desktop machines are variable as well
On the CPU?
on the CPU.
I could see like the other fans, but that CPU is always hot, right? It's pretty consistently hot. And most of the time you want that fan running at the max. So what I would suggest is just a quieter fan. And you certainly can get one of those. They're very easy to put on. Depends on your CPU. Most of the time your fan is held on along with the CPU by clips. You release the clips, the whole thing comes off. You'll slide the fan off. It's not glued to the CPU. It's actually attached with just a tiny dollop of thermal paste, they call it, which is a heat conductor. You want a very thin film. What I would do is slide the fan off, use some denatured alcohol, not rubbing alcohol, but denatured alcohol to get the thermal paste, old thermal paste off. When you buy a new fan, get a tube of thermal paste. It's not expensive. Just a little dollop. You don't want to put too much on it. It actually works counterproductive.
Okay.
Put that on, put the thing on, the fan back on, clip it in. There now have fans. If you're willing to spend a little more money, you got a cheap fan that comes with the case. If you're willing to spend a little more money, you can get high flow fans that are very quiet. Have you done anything like that, Sean?
I haven't played around with a lot of fans in my cases. I find that in general, with the new processors I have, the ones that come stock are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But definitely you can get one, and in those cases, the larger the actual fan, the quieter it will run as well.
It moves more air with fewer RPMs, and so
Right.
that makes it a quieter fan. It can spin slower.
But over the last few years, they've also introduced a number of fans that use different bearings inside that actually make them run a lot quieter.
The
old
bearings
ones,
are what noisy, and that
Right.
sound is it sound like a little rattling sound a little bit, Rob?
It's not really rattling. It just sounds like it's spinning super fast. It just sounds like
It's
just,
whining, isn't it?
Yeah.
It may be worth checking your task manager to see if there are a lot of cycles
something's
being
working
used.
really hard.
Something
in
may
this
be
system?
driving the CPU usage up closer to 100%.
Right now, my CPU usage is just hovering around 60.
Around 60.
Yeah.
That's reasonably high.
Yeah, but
Are you doing anything major besides the webcam right now?
Just the webcam.
You never hear the fan get.
Well, I've got a torrent going, but
You never hear the fan getting quieter.
no, actually, as soon as I turn it on,
I would
when I
realize
had
probably not
Windows ME, I'd turn it on, and then it would be really loud, and then as soon as Windows would load, it would go back. It would go quiet, but then as soon as I upgraded to XP, it stays loud all the time.
I think it's a coincidence. I think it's just the fan is bad.
Okay.
Then it's $12. I mean, it's a cheap part. If you want a fancy fan, PC Power and Cooling makes large muffin fans with big blades that are quieter. They call them the silencer. But there are a lot of different companies that make these. This is $8. It's an easy part to fix, and I think that's one thing almost everybody could do to make their computer quieter is replace the fans that come in the case with something a little more expensive, but just a little bit quieter. That's all I could think. I mean, you know how to look in the. I'll just show you just because it's a useful thing to know. Control-Alt-Delete to open the Task Manager. You're probably looking at CPU percentage or CPU usage.
Yeah.
Sean showed me this. This is really cool. If you go to View, where is it? Is it in View?
Yeah, it's in View Select,
Select columns. There it is. View Select Columns.
Okay.
You'll get all these. I never knew this. There's all these additional things you can look at. And he says CPU time might be a more valuable column. It's not
Okay.
default checked. When you check it, it'll show what program is using the most CPU time. And that's really a more of a longitudinal number, a number that will, percentage goes up and down. It's shifting all the time. But if you see one program, I guess what I would say an unexpected program using a lot of hogging your CPU time, then that might be something to worry about. I would sort by CPU time, and you see on mine the system idle process has
Yeah,
used.
that's what I see. It's hogging a ton.
Yeah, well, that's normal. That means that's the process that runs when nothing's happening.
Oh, okay.
It's idling, and that's 145 minutes on mine. And then the next biggest one is system, and that's 2 minutes. I'm sorry, 145 hours on mine.
Yeah, if there's something in that list that you're not actually using on a regular basis,
That would
then
be
you
then
might
an
want to
issue.
look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe try reinstalling that particular program.
Idle should always be the largest one. That's the way Windows and all modern operating systems work. They run a loop basically that's saying, did he do anything? Did he do anything? Did he do anything? Did he do anything? That's the system idle process. Is waiting for an event, and of course that's going to. But that takes very little CPU power. I really think it's just a coincidence. I don't think XP is making your fan noisy. It is possible with a variable speed fan, but I think it's much more likely your fan just died.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks, Rob. It is noisy. Get it fixed. It's driving me. I can hear it here.
Can I get a autograph picture
Yes,
from you?
of course.
Great.
And I suppose you'd like Amber's as well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Hang on the line. We'll get your address. We'll send it out to you.
Thanks
I
a
am
lot.
not jealous of Amber. I'm not. I'm not. I am not jealous of Amber. If you're working on your next big novel, you probably want to find a way to block out every distraction on your screen while typing away. Mikey, we call him Mr. Dark and Stormy Night, is very easily distracted. And he likes to write. And actually, I've heard this on many writers say that, look at your screen. Well, actually, we have to switch over so you can see it. But if you look at your screen, there's a busy screen is a distraction. It's
Absolutely.
a deterrent to great writing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to hide this for a second, just so you can see. This is my desktop. I have, 230,000 feeds I haven't read, articles. I have 22 emails piling up there. I have
You've got things to do.
I got things to do.
I don't have time to write.
But I have to write. So, when you launch this program called Write Room, it blocks everything
Write
out.
Room.
It gives you just a green text.
And what are you? Is it a word processor?
It's a basic word processor. It has spell checking, but that's it. You don't have to worry about any kind of formatting, any kind of, and you can do that up here later on.
There
if
is
you
a
want to.
menu,
There is a menu,
but
but
it hides it.
Completely hidden. So all you're focused on is this. Anything that goes on in the background, like if you have notifications that
Those don't pop up?
those don't pop up here. They get blocked completely. So you completely can focus on writing.
This is kind of a funny program because it's really taking us back. Type a little bit more. It's really taking us back to a time when this is what computers looked like: green screens, or black screens with green text on them, and nothing else going on because you were running DOS and there was nothing else to have going on.
Exactly. So it's very simple. It's and it's also the green screen.
Do you find it hard to read?
No, I have no problem reading. I don't know. Maybe
Can you change the colors?
You know what? That's a good question. I didn't even think about that. Let's check preferences.
Because I may not want a green.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you
okay.
can.
So I could change.
And you can change the page
I could make it
color.
black text on white.
Yeah. If
Okay.
it's more comfortable for you.
It is a little better for me than green.
But it does certainly bring you back to the old
What
days
a
of.
funny little program.
Yeah.
It's free, of course.
Absolutely.
Because nobody could charge for that.
No, it's from Hogbay Software, which
I
makes
love
Hogbay.
Hogbay. You know, that's interesting. I bet he uses it.
Probably.
Jesse Grosjean, because he's a very organized fella, and that's exactly
Yeah,
what
and
it is.
Merlin Mann was profiling it on 43folders.com.
Was he?
So,
Yeah, Merlin's the same way.
Yeah.
Merlin is like me, and probably like you, and many of us working in the computer industry, we're ADD. We can't, there's so many inputs, it's very hard to just get the job done and focus. You know, you got Tetris, you got Solitaire, you got Mail, you got all this other stuff to do.
Exactly.
Amber and I think you need this too, I bet you. We're all ADD. I think it's an occupational hazard.
Well, originally I stole this free file from Amber because we fought over it, and I don't know how I won, but...
You whined.
You whine a lot. Are you ready? So it's both of theirs. I'll give it to both of them. See, now he's the prima donna on the show. Are you ready to spice up your Photoshop layers palette? Forget about lumping them all together. In the new Photoshop CS2, there's a better way. Paul Kelly's here, a little Photoshop expertise to get us organized right after the break. But first, assemble your thoughts, guess the answer, focus on today's Next Tech Quiz question of the day. Which company made the first home, and it's important to say home because there were professional versions before, but the first consumer VCR in 1972? Was it Philips, Sony, JVC, or CFH Labs? Get to the website, give us the answer. Better living through CFH Labs. We'll be right back right after this.
Red Rock.
Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you this is a puzzler. Who made that first home VCR? It was 1972. I've got to think Sony, but I know the answer is JVC. No, Philips! Philips. I'll be darned. They made the first cassette player. They made the first VCR too. See, you learn something every day on this show. Whether you're just learning Photoshop or you're a seasoned pro, almost everyone agrees the key to Photoshop is layers. That's what makes Photoshop so powerful. They may take a little bit to figure out. They're not immediately intuitive, but once you do, you're going to love them. Well, with the release of CS2, everything you've learned about layers is different, of course. Paul Kelly is here to give us a guided tour of some new features in CS2. The CS2 has been out for a while. I've been using it. And there are some significant upgrades. So if you're using an earlier version, it's well worth upgrading.
Some amazing new things, and in fact, this layer comps one has actually been around since CS, when which came out even a couple of years ago.
Right.
But it's an amazing, powerful thing. It's just that I do a lot of corporate training, and I notice that even the power users don't
know about it.
They're not using it.
Well, show us.
I would love to. Okay, so a standard Photoshop layout like this, you're working on a bunch of variations for the design, and so that I've brought up my layers palette.
Kind of what layers do is allow you to modify parts of a drawing without modifying the whole thing.
I'm doing it right here. You can see that as I turn the eye on and off beside different layer sets, these are called sets because
you've grouped them together.
Yeah, they're grouped together, and you can jump between the different ones.
The beach ball of death, ladies and gentlemen.
As you turn the eyes on and off, you can hide and show different possibilities.
That must have been a big layer, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, but the problem is, if you're working on different, you want to be able to just quickly and easily jump between these, rather than having to go and turn all these different things on and off to get different variations.
So it is useful while you're working, but what you're saying is it's even useful after you're done with the drawing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more you can do with it. Well, let's say you've got an art director sitting over your shoulder. They want to see, okay, so what are the different variations that you've worked on? This is where the layer comps palette comes in. Now it's available right under the window menu, layer comps.
It's not there by default, but you've turned it on.
Yep, it's the window, layer comps, and it's showing up here in the thing called the palette well. I can just drag it out. That's the default location for it. And you see there's a bunch of saved layer comps already here. If I just click on the little thing beside it, it just clicks to just showing me the title, just a large photos. And you notice that as I do this, watch that the layers are just going on and off.
So you've in effect said this layer comp is the collection of these layers.
And all it's doing is keeping track of which layers are visible and which ones aren't. But it does a lot more than that, as I'll show you now. Let's say I've got this small vase version, and I want a different variation of that.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to turn on this adjustment layer, special kind of layer that will make an adjustment. In this case, you notice as I turn it on and off, it's changing the background color. I might even take this, I'll turn that on, I might even take the large thing here and just move it down a bit or something like that. Or I can even go to this text layer up here
These
And
are all the
just-
kinds of thing a client or a boss might say.
Yep.
Nudge that over, move that down, change
or
that color.
let's try this layer with a different layer style. Maybe we want to put a bevel and emboss on it, right? So I'm going to put a bevel and emboss on the title at the top and say, okay, that looks
even
nice.
if you're working for yourself, this is useful
Oh, yeah.
to hold on to different variations.
Well, just the simple, like looking for different variations. I want the drop shadow, I want it without the drop
Yeah.
shadow. So now that I've done
so you
this,
can really do an A/B comparison and
Yep.
see what you like.
I'm just going to go down to this new button. I can also go to the layer comps palette and say new layer comp, but
it's easier just to click the new
just
button.
click the new button. It comes up and says, what do you want to call it? And I'll call it Small Vase 2 for a variation. But you notice what it keeps track of. Visibility, position, and also the appearance, the layer style. So it'll keep track of all of those variations. So you can try the logo down in the bottom corner or over here, and it'll be the same layer. You don't have to duplicate the layer. It'll just record it.
Well,
in a
that's
different
interesting. So we're not making a new layer for every change.
Nope.
Layer comps allows us to have multiple changes within the same layer.
Within the same layer. You can have, I say I want to see it here, I want to see it down there, I
Oh,
want to see it
that's
up here.
neat.
And you don't have to have this duplicates of the layer.
Yeah, because I
that you
just
turn
create a
on
new
and off.
layer with a slight difference.
Well, and as you increase,
It
as you add
slows
layers,
everything down.
Well, it increases your file size,
Yeah.
and it makes it more, harder to work with.
So a small change, you might want to create a layer comp instead.
And here I can just go between these two variations that I've got there. There's the first one, and here's the second one with this slightly moved, and the layer style on the text.
Oh, that can see really handy.
Well, fantastic. And then at the bottom of the palette, you've got these little arrows, so you can just cycle through all of the saved ones you've got. And this doesn't increase your file size at all. It's just an ease of use thing for getting these. Now, the next step becomes, okay, well, what do you do with it now? I've got these different variations. I want to try bringing them into a layout.
Right.
Okay, well, fine. Then you've got to export them all out separately.
Right. How do I
Well,
save it? Yeah.
Even that has been automated under the File menu. Right beside where it says Automate, there's this little thing that says Scripts. Now, these come with the program, but you notice Scripts, Layer Comps to Files, Layer Comps to PDF.
So you could make specs that are PDFs and send them out. Oh, that's fantastic.
And that's it, and it will create a multiple-page PDF with the different variations.
Here's your different styles, Mr. Jones.
Yep, and you just boom, choose that command, send it out.
So this is in CS.
Yep.
Exactly the same, or have they improved it slightly in CS2?
I think it runs a little bit more solidly in CS2. But you can see here when I go, it's got the options for PSD, JPEG, TIFF.
Excellent.
And so that I could then, like if it was for a website, I could just save them as a JPEG. It'll flatten them, save them all out.
Very handy.
Yep.
Layer comps. I didn't even know it was there.
Yep.
I didn't even know it was there.
And then one final thing, once you get it into your page layout, I've just jumped over to InDesign here.
Yeah.
This is something new to CS2. They're really taking advantage of layer comps in Photoshop. Once I have that layered Photoshop file, under the Object menu, I have Object Layer Options. And if I just bring up this and show you, I've got access
choose
to
your
all
comps.
of my layer comps without having to go into the Photoshop file and turn the layers on and off. Right from here, I can say, you know what, I want the one with the 6. I hit OK. And
This is a Quark killer. This is the kind of thing Adobe can do because they make both programs.
Right. So even though Quark 7 has come out, they're just so much ahead of the game.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Paul Kelly, it's great to have you. He's an Adobe certified expert providing training in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign through his company. You can learn more about it at powertraining.ca. Details on layer comps in our show notes at callforhelptv.com. I'm going to play with this. This is really cool. I had no idea it was in there. Final thoughts, a final word, right after this with the star of the show. Don't go away. We're going to have to get more pictures of you printed up.
Oh, no, Leo. No, stop all of that.
I don't know where somehow somebody got the idea, and we now a lot of callers do this. They ask for autographs, and the truth is we don't have kind of like any, workflow set up for this. But I guess would you or somebody prints up pictures?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Usually someone on the crew will print them up and then send them out. So
we don't have an official way to do it, so don't go looking at the website for where do I get the autograph. But
and they're not the best photos either.
They're not. She looks great. I look like this. But hey, that's how I look. If you do want an autograph, the best way to get on the show is to ask a question. Go to the website, click that link. If you've got a problem with your personal confuser,
don't whine,
don't moan,
don't yell.
Just call for help. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
And may the Schwartz be with you.